engines and Toronto's newest line that opened, the Finch West, which just opened a couple of weeks ago. Um, Basically, that's the program description you guys saw, uh, distributed by ERA. Thanks again for joining. We'll start in New Jersey, looking at the newest heritage engine in the area of New Jersey. That's a GP40 PH-2B 4202 in the Pennsylvania Reading Seashore Lines colors. New Jersey Transit calls it dark green locomotive enamel. This debuted in October 2025, seen here at the Hamilton Atlantic City Line station. This locomotive is no longer in South Jersey. It's now roaming around on the north side. Okay. Here's 4202 also sitting in Atlantic City Station. This is taken about a month ago. The engine before was Conrail, the second newest heritage in New Jersey. This is at Waldwick on the Main and Bergen County line, and this debuted in the fall of 2024. Hopefully there will be others out soon as well. This is the site of former SA Tower in South Amboy. The tower was demolished in 2023, and it was sort of right in the view on the left in front of the train, part of the Raritan Bay Drawbridge Replacement Project. It protected the Camden and Amboy and the New York and Long Branch. If we look at this same view from above, that is the view of the Raritan River Drawbridge Replacement Project. You can see the new bridge being built in the background, scheduled to open at some point next year. The new bridge will be more weather resilient, able to handle heavier trains and speeds of 60 miles an hour on New Jersey Transit's North Jersey coastline. The current bridge was damaged heavily during Superstorm Sandy in 2012 and needs to be replaced. View in the other direction of an ALP 46 pushing south on the North Jersey coast. We go back to the history files. Here's a New Jersey Transit E60 crossing the bridge in August of 1982. Everybody knows GG1 when they see them. Here's 4877, restored in Pennsy colors in 1983. That's a Jerry Landau shot for those who remember him at ERA. Also in 1983, an ex-Southern E8 4333. I would love to go back in time and take some more pictures of these. A couple of drone views. Here's one at Oradell on the Pascack Valley line with GP40 4215. Over Port Jervis, Metro North F40 PH-3C 4909 on the left is ex-Amtrak, and 4913 in the middle is ex-New Jersey Transit. A little further down, the museum that started a few years ago released a statement a week or two ago saying they need to be out of this area by summer 2026, as the town is talking about doing some kind of remediation and redevelopment. So if you want to go see this, I would recommend going soon, if they're even still open. Southern Railroad of New Jersey operates freight trains on and around New Jersey Transit's Atlantic City line. Here is an M420W, originally Canadian National. Actually, all three are. Captured in Pleasantville, New Jersey, splitting its train in two and shoving back into the A.E. Stone facility. Cool to see such eclectic power today. Here's the train split in two. Why are they using a New Jersey Transit engine? With PTC being added to the New Jersey Transit Atlantic City line, MP20B-3 on the right, 1003, has been borrowed for use on the Atlantic City line. And here is the train unloading in the A.E. Stone facility. The former owner of the Southern Railroad of New Jersey was a big Ontario and Western fan, so this engine is painted in a tribute color. The train was called WJPV for Winslow Junction to Pleasantville. And Cape May Lighthouse for those lighthouse fans, built in 1859, currently in Cape May State Park. The New Jersey Transit River Line in Camden, one of 20 Stadler GTW cars operating between Camden and Trenton. Also new in the area, one of New Jersey Transit's 8 battery electric buses operating on Broadway in Camden. These are hard to find. A train of Path Kawasaki PA5 cars crossing the Path lift bridge over the Hackensack River in October. Adjacent is the shared assets Harzimus branch and the Whitpen Bridge, which carries New Jersey Route 7. All spans here connect Kearny to Jersey City. A PA5 in Newark Penn Station is a bridge to nowhere. If you notice the 3-car path train roaming around on the right-of-way, this bridge is the remnants of the CNJ Newark and New York branch, where RDC trains ran here as late as 1967. When the Aldine plan saw trains rerouted over the Lehigh Valley to Newark Penn Station, this was taken out of service. The facade of the Newark Broad Street station still exists a few blocks away in the background. We'll take a look at Newark Penn. Is a Amtrak ACS 64 that needs a wash. New Jersey Transit ALP 45DP on a Raritan train. Several of these trains have tributes to part of the military. This one is for the Marine Corps. Always nice to see something different on the locomotive. We'll take a look at some Newark light rail pictures. I haven't really done this since they got rid of the PCCs in 2001, so this has been on my list for a while. This is now called Newark Light Rail, formerly the Newark City Subway. Opened May 26, 1935, in the right-of-way of the Morris Canal. Was switched to light rail service with the retirement of the PCC. That retirement was August 24, 2001. I'm sure many people in this presentation was there for that. 11 of those cars were sold to San Francisco, 2004. You'll see them later. The line was extended in June 2002 to Grove Street, and the 1-mile branch to Broad Street opened in 2006. The lines together 6.2 miles with 17 stations and 21 of these Kinky Chargeview cars in the fleet. Here's 111 at Penn Station. Interesting tile work about the Morris Canal in every station underground. The canal was primarily used to bring coal east, and it was abandoned in 1924. As I mentioned before, the trolley started in 35. Here's 111 at Penn Station. I just mentioned before, 2 branches operate from here, one to Broad Street and one on the original line out to Branchbrook Park and then over to Grove Street. Pennsylvania, obviously under the Pennsylvania Railroad's Penn Station. This station opened in 1937. On the view here, we'll head over to Broad Street. It was renamed Military Park in 2004. I guess it was hot when they used to go swimming in the canal. Here's Broad Street with car 1005. Broad Street tiles are still here, but there are signs hanging that say Military Park. This is also Broad. And now we're at Washington Street. And one more here at Washington. Final underground station here, Warren Street. And a couple from the history files. This is Franklin Avenue, last week of PCC service, taken August 22nd, 2001. And Grove Street in Bloomfield on the last day, August 24th, 2001. Basically, the cars ran in service in the Newark City subway, and they ran under their own power here, and they just lined up, and that was the end of the PCC service in New Jersey. Car 6 was painted in a public service tribute color and was used for the last run out of Penn Station on August 24th. Now we'll take a look at the Portal North Bridge. Amtrak and New Jersey Transit held a press event in celebration of the arrival and installation of the third arch on February 26, 2020. 2025. But first, the Penzi ALP 46 paid a visit. Here we are at a little briefing inside before we got to go outside. The bridge on the right is 114 years old, needed replacement. It's scheduled to open in 2026. The bridge on the left is 50 feet above water to prevent opening, and there are three 1,200-foot arch bridges spanning the Hackensack River here. This is on top of the Portal North Bridge. You'll see two tracks will be running through here in 2026. A view of the 114-year-old bridge from the new bridge, and a couple of shots of trains crossing the old bridge with the new one in the background. ALP 46s, Amtrak ACS 64, and from the air, an ALP 46. Okay, let's go to JFK, jump on a Delta plane. We'll head west to San Francisco. This was a rail fanning trip with a good friend from New York, and we were based out of the San Jose area. This is the former Southern Pacific Cahill Depot, renamed Diridon Station in San Jose. It opened in 1935. Light rail was added here in 2005, and BART is coming here in 2036. Named for Santa Clara County Supervisor Ron Diridon Sr., built in Italian Renaissance Revival style. The station has 4 island platforms and 1 side platform for Caltrain, ACE and Amtrak trains, and 2 side platforms for San Jose Light Rail. Let's go inside. Very nice inside. Little coffee shop behind me as well. Let's go on the platform. This is an Altamont Corridor Express ACE, Siemens Charger SC44, one of 4 inbound trips from Stockton to San Jose. ACE started in October 1998 and now carries 2,900 people on weekdays across 10 stations. The line is named for the Altamont Pass and only runs in rush hour. One of the reasons I came to San Francisco was to see Caltrain. Last fall, all train service from San Francisco to San Jose was electrified using the new Stadler KISS EMU trains on the right. Diesel service still operates from Diridon to Gilroy in peak direction, peak hour service only. You see one of the MP36 PH-3Cs on the left that's used in the Gilroy service. Nice sign pointing you in the right direction. Nice, easy place to take pictures. No trouble walking around here, taking pictures. Amtrak also does serve the station. This is one of California DOT's chargers, an SC44, used on Capital Corridor trains to Oakland and Sacramento. Note the light rail train on the left. As I mentioned before, the Gilroy trains do lay up here during the midday. Let's take a look at the light rail. The weather wasn't that great the first 2 days in San Jose, so we did ride the entire light rail system. This is the VTA, Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority. 3 lines, 42-mile network around San Jose, 60 stations, 100 of these light rail vehicles with 1,600 daily weekday riders. All 3 lines are designed to bring passengers into downtown San Jose and Silicon Valley, site of many high-tech companies like Adobe, Cisco, Google, NVIDIA, etc. And here we'll take a look at car 905 at the Diridon station. These are Kinky Charju built cars, 70% low floor. Original UTDC equipment has been retired. 979 is at the Champion station on the Green Line. And we spent some time riding around just waiting for the sun to come out. Here's 903 at the east end of the Orange Line at Alum Rock. An extension of the Orange Line from here to the East Ridge Transit Center in San Jose is under construction and planned to open in 2028. Here we are, 918 and 926 at the west end of the Orange Line at Mountain View. Sun was just about coming out. You can see the blue sky. Mountain View is also a convenient transfer to Caltrain, and there is a nice bus terminal here connecting riders from the neighborhood to the two rail systems. It's a VTA Gillig and a veteran bus. And here's the Caltrain station at Mountain View as well. We'll get into this later. San Jose is one of the only systems in North America that has abandoned stations. There was a branch called the Almaden Shuttle, which stopped here at Oak Ridge and the terminal at Almaden. It opened in 1991 and closed December 27th, 2019 due to low ridership. Here's a few pictures of the stations. This is Almaden. There was a lumber company here that closed. I guess that didn't help the ridership. Surprisingly, though, there were people working on the platform. So who knows, maybe it'll come back one day. The Almaden shuttle branched off the Blue Line at Chenoweth. It was originally the Southern Pacific's Lick branch, which was abandoned in 1981. Now the sun's finally coming out. Here's the Blue Line at Santa Teresa. Always nice bus transfers in this part of California. Layup tracks at Santa Teresa. We rode the line up to downtown. This is the Children's Discovery Museum station on the Blue Line. Here, the blue and the green run together for a little bit into downtown. This is along San Carlos. You can see the green line splitting off to the left. And this is the Convention Center station. And that nice building on the left is the San Jose Civic. It's a theater and concert venue built in 1934, California Mission style. North end of the Blue Line in Bay Point. And 909 on the Orange Line at Milpitas. This is a very convenient transfer to the BART, and we will use it here, walking from the light rail to BART. And we'll jump on the BART network. The Milpitas station. Here we are on the platform. This is 3294. This is one of BART's Fleet of the Future, 775 cars built by Bombardier and Alstom between 2012 and 2024. All of the older BART cars were retired between 2021 and 2024. One station south of Milpitas is Berryessa. This is the southernmost station for two lines now. As we speak, it will be extended further south into the San Jose area over the next several years. One great thing about California, you can go from San Francisco to San Jose by Caltrain, and you'll soon be able to do it by BART as well. Very transit-oriented and transit-friendly. We'll take a look at the BART system. 50 stations along 6 lines covering 131 miles, 179,000 riders on weekdays. Many lines run together, providing great transfer opportunities from different communities. Most BART lines run under Market Street in San Francisco. This is the Fremont station here. Excuse me. Always nice scenery at this part of the area as well. While we're in Fremont, a quick stop at the Pacific Bus Museum. They were closed, but a couple of friendly people let me take a few pictures. And back in BART, this is the Lake Merritt station in Oakland. Coming upstairs in Oakland, this is the Tempo Bus Rapid Transit, 27 of these electric New Flyers, 34 stations from here to San Leandro. Interesting color. AC Transit, which runs in Oakland, runs a lot of different types of buses, hydrogen, electric, diesel. So you never know what you're going to see. And I was happy to see this, a bus wrapped in the color of a AC Transit fishbowl from the 1970s and 80s. So that was certainly a highlight of my day. And here we are in the other direction. Back in the subway, down to Embarcadero. And a few pictures under Market Street. Montgomery Street, Civic Center, Powell Street. Very frequent service in rush hour. No issues taking pictures. This was not a time exposure. That sign was not working properly. And now we'll jump into Muni. This is the T line, which is Muni's newest, opening in 2007. This accesses downtown in the Central Subway, and these stations in the Central Subway opened in late 2002. This is Union Square Market Street. One of the new Siemens S200 cars. 399 of these are being built near Sacramento. And recently the last Bredas have been, retired. This is the Union Square Market Street station. I thought this was kind of funny, being in Giants territory. Don't be a Dodger. Chinatown, Rose Pack. Station opened November 19th, 2022. Rose Pack was a political advocate who helped secure funding for the T line. This shows you the measure in place to make sure no one falls between the cars. Some nice graphics here showing Muni transit subjects of the past. 2054 Rose Pack Station. And now we'll head back outside. This is 4th and King. That's the Mission Channel bridge crossing in the background. And looking in the other direction, 4th and King with the Caltrain station and the N line terminal on the left. And since we're here, we'll take a walk into the Caltrain station. This is midday when not much is going on. Caltrain, as you can see from the map, runs from San Francisco down to San Jose, and the South County connector running south from San Jose down to Gilroy, which is diesel. We'll take a look at the line. So this is what you see now in the 4th and Townsend terminal. Lots of electric Stadler KISS MUs. We did ride, very nice ride, very comfortable, very fast. This is what you saw if you were there a few years ago. I was last in San Francisco in 2023, so they still had diesel trains running. Those F40s, like the ones on the left, were sold to Peru, Lima, Peru. There's a couple around. There's this one, 919, is still sitting just south of the station, likely in San Francisco because it was involved in a fatal accident with the electrification construction. Probably some legal reason that it's there. Back to 2023, this AEM7 was used for testing before the electrics started running, ex-Amtrak, of course. Let's take a look at the line. This is 303 at the Broadway station in Burlingame, only open on weekdays. I'm sorry, only open on weekends. That's the station. 313, same place. This is 329 at Burlingame Station. If you see the building on the right, built in 1894, Spanish colonial revival and mission revival architecture. 333 Burlingame. We'll go back 2 years to 2023. And we have a MPI engine here in the same place. Back to 2025. Most pictures in this show were taken during 2025. I'll mention if they were not. This is the San Mateo station. Um, Very nice place for pictures as well. Nice Italian restaurant here also. My godson's name is Matteo, so always a place I like to visit when I'm in the San Francisco area. A couple of pictures here. We'll go back in time, 2023, when we still had F-40s roaming. Here's 9/11 and 9/20. Heading south, this is Hayward Park, also in San Mateo. 325 is at the Belmont station. It's an island platform that's elevated. This is the San Carlos station, built in 1888 by the Southern Pacific Railroad. The building is not in use for train events anymore, but there is an elevated platform off to the right, which is where we took this picture. Redwood City is 310 heading south. Nice bus terminal here for transfers as well. Samtrans, which is for San Mateo County in Redwood City. Menlo Park Station, built in 1867. The line opened here in 1863. It's called the San Francisco and San Jose Railroad. The station was not originally a station, but moved here and had the Victorian stuff added later to be more attractive to Stanford students for riding. 334 in Palo Alto. I saw somebody was posting in the chat when we first started that they were from Palo Alto, so you should be familiar with this. Palo Alto also has a great bus terminal. Lots of transfers here, San Mateo, Samtrans, and VTA from San Jose. Lots of different things to see, including Stanford University buses. This is a BYD bus built from a Chinese company. All easy transfer, as you can see, right to the Caltrain. Here's 326 at the Stanford station, which is used only for football games. But there is a convenient way of taking the picture anyway. There's a picture of the lone Stanford station sign. Moving south, California Avenue in Palo Alto. And Mountain View. 314 in Sunnyvale. Nice little structure here, ticket vending machines. Keep you dry while you're buying. Lawrence Station. It's a southbound train to San Jose and a northbound train toward San Francisco. And Santa Clara Station, where both Caltrain and Amtrak serve Capital Corridor trains as well. Here's a VTA transfer, and here is a Capital Corridor train. If you see on the left, it says Santa Clara Station. This is where the BART subway will be extended in planned 2036. 4 stations would be added to BART from Berryessa, which I showed before, ending at the Diridon station and here at Santa Clara. 6 miles extension opening in 2026. And a Caltrain charger passing a restored tower. Back quickly through the Diridon station. We'll go back to the history files here. GP9 in San Jose in 1983. That's kind of an interesting color too. And now let's take a look at the diesel-only section to Gilroy. This is called the South County Connector. There's only 4 trains in the morning and 4 trains out in the evening. This is the Blossom Hill Station, and that's a Bombardier-built car from 2002 with a MP36PH-3C pushing the train in. I miss when I could just say FL9, but now there's so many numbers and letters, you practically have to write everything down. Next station out, Morgan Hill, is 923 leading the train toward uh, Diridon. And in the evening, here's F40 PH-2C 921 leading its train out to Gilroy. Caltrain still has three of these in service, only because they were rebuilt recently by MPI. I just read last week that the three will be leased to California DOT to run on the Capital Corridor trains or the San Joaquins. So that will be interesting to see. San Martin, this is a train at about 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Good thing for digital. Here's the train, the back of the train pushing towards Diridon. Here's 922 between San Martin and Gilroy for a late evening rush hour train south. And here is the Gilroy station with some of the old Caltrain graphics. This building was built by Southern Pacific in 1918. Gilroy is famous for their garlic festival, which I'm sure some of you know. My brother's a big fan of garlic. I'm sure he has been out there for this as well. And here's a aerial view of the same thing. And a few shots around Gilroy. These MPI engines look really sharp. There's always a spare train set sitting in the yard. This three-car set of Bombardier cars is wrapped for some interesting things. This first car here is obviously for sports. And I came back in the morning to get the F40 before it went into San Jose. Still nice to see these things running around. So now we'll switch to ACE. This is the Altamont Corridor Express with a Siemens Charger SC44, one of 4 inbound trips from Stockton to San Jose. Captured here on UP's Coast Subdivision in the Alviso neighborhood in North San Jose. ACE started in October 1998 and now carries 2,900 on weekdays across 10 stations. The line is named for the Altamont Pass and only runs in rush hour. And this is very early morning with very early sunlight. Capital Corridor trains do run through here as well. So we did get some chargers from California as well. Another ACE. Another California DOT. And what we were waiting for, the last inbound train, train 07, had 2 F40s and a mixed match of passenger cars, old and new. So really happy to get this. And we did it the day before, but the weather wasn't as nice, so we had to go back and make sure we got it right. And of course, the Amtrak long-haul train, train 11, the Coast Starlight, led by 2 new chargers. Amtrak calls these ALC-42s. This is number 339, and 129 of these are being built. Very nice place to take pictures. Now we'll head north towards Sacramento. We reach the Centerville station in Fremont, built between 1910 and 1916 by Southern Pacific. Nice, most things are open. You can sit on a couch in the station, or 2 apparently. Here is 8301, the Mount Whitney. Apparently all of these Amtrak control cars built by Morris and Knudsen between 94 and 97 have been named for mountains. There's the Charger on the back, SC44. And we'll head up to the Oakland area. This is the west end of Jack London Square, where rail fans flock here to take pictures of trains running in the street. Why do trains run in the street? It seems like trains served the docks years ago, and it was sort of inefficient to move them away from here. So they still run in the street. This is the west end of Embarcadero West with a California Charger. 5 minutes later in the same place, train 11 shows up, the Coast Starlight, under the nice signals, position light signals. We quickly ran to the other end of town and got the train leaving from the Amtrak station at the east end of Jack London. And now to the actual street running. This is 8309, the Mount San Jacinto, leading a train of new Siemens Venture cars. with the only F-59 PHI we saw in service. This is a San Joaquin Valley train, which was renamed in 2025 to a Gold Runner. Trains from Bakersfield and Fresno to Sacramento and Oakland run through the San Joaquin Valley are now called Gold Runners. Right outside the Amtrak station, nice colorful street with an AC Transit Gillig. Back to Amtrak, SC-44 with a Capital Corridor train from Sacramento to Oakland. There is traffic in the street, but it's not difficult to navigate. You can see the prize in the background there, which you'll see soon. There is a Union Pacific yard just west of downtown, and apparently with long enough trains, they have to run in the street to be able to work their consist. You can still see that train in the background there. I left this in. You can actually see the cars on the street with the train in the street at the same time. And these trains are moving. They're not going 5 miles an hour. So it's very impressive. And finally, AC 6000 CW 7056 came on the street, Embarcadero West, and actually did make a few moves back and forth. So we were able to get quite a few nice shots. Charger 2123. There are 23 of these in service. 2103, again, here at the Emeryville station with the California Zephyr on the right. And here is P42 181 leading the Zephyr into the station in Emeryville. Very early morning. Now we'll use Amtrak to continue up toward Sacramento. This is the Martinez, California station, birthplace of famous New York Yankee Joe DiMaggio. Both Gold Runner and Capital Corridor trains stop here. That is 8308, named for the Mount San Gionio in California. Is 8303 with a new Siemens Venture train. Nice to see these new trains coming out. Provided by Caltrains. Trans. Here we are at the Suisun Fairfield station. Now we're just on the Capital Corridor part on the way to Sacramento. The station was built in March 1914. And here's the highest number, SC-44, leading a southbound Capital Corridor train. And here is the northbound California Zephyr, which used to stop here but doesn't anymore, led by P4257 and Heritage Unit 164 in the second unit. Davis, California, junction with California Northern Short Line. Unitrans, New Flyer serves the city of Davis and the University of California campus here. Always like this red color. And finally, we reach Sacramento, capital of California. The building was built between 1860 and 1874. The Delta King sternwheel steamboat built for the California Transportation Company service between Sacramento and San Francisco in 1927. Today it's used as a hotel in Old Sacramento. This is Western Pacific F7A 913, part of the California State Railroad Museum in Old Sacramento, built in 1950. We were just walking around here as this engine slowly pulled out and stopped here right in the sun, basically just as a museum prop for all the tourists in Old Sacramento. I went to the bathroom, came out and said something looked different, and they actually put a logo on the front, which apparently is put there by magnets so it doesn't disappear. So here's the after picture and a couple other views. Always nice to see an EMD cab unit. There's the office, the Central Pacific Railroad. Here's the Sacramento Southern, which is the tourist train run by the museum with an SW8 2030 ex-US Army, just a little south of that location with the F unit. Back in downtown, the Sacramento Valley Station, built in 1926 for the Southern Pacific. Today used by Amtrak and the Sacramento Regional Transit District's Gold Line. Another beautiful station inside. We'll take a walk on the platform. Here's SC44 2102 and a cab car. And over to the Sacramento RTD station with a Siemens-built S700 416 and an Orion bus, one of the oldest probably in the country. Here's a quick look at the Sacramento light rail network. You can see 3 lines. Currently, the green line is not running, so blue and gold are running today. If you visit, we'll take a look at the system back at the Sacramento Valley Station. These cars are being built now. There are 40 CAF S200 cars and 55 of the Siemens S700 cars in the process of delivery. Recently, Siemens Duog U2A cars were recently retired. I did see one when I was here in October, 2 months ago. So a couple pictures from the Sacramento Valley Station. This is the Gold Line. Now we'll ride into downtown. This is 7th and Capitol. That's a CAF light rail vehicle. Capitol's right over my right shoulder. So we came back in the afternoon to take a few more pictures to try to get that shot with the Capitol. At some point, Sacramento did buy some 20 UTDC-built ALRV cars from San Jose, and they were removed in 22 and mostly scrapped as of now. A couple pictures downtown. Again, this is the Agilent bus at 7th and Capitol, and YOLO Transit, which runs to some of the suburbs west of downtown with the Capitol in the background. Okay, so now we'll take a look at some other stations. This is, where are we here? This is 409. This is 8th and O Street, an S700, one of the newer cars. And just over my left shoulder is 425, another one of the new cars, again at 8th and O. After taking these pictures in October, about a month later, I was watching Leonardo DiCaprio's new movie called One Battle After Another. And they actually had a street scene taken exactly right here with some of the light rail cars going by. This is the CAF car at Archives Plaza. These cars are really starting to show their age. Maybe time for a little scraping, or maybe they're all going to be replaced with the new Siemens cars being built. This was a rare thing to see. Siemens Duog U2A 126. All of these are now in storage and out of service. Fortunate to see one running back then. And one of the new trains at Archives Plaza. So now we'll go to 13th Street, CAF 201, and Siemens 420 and 411. Again, all at 13th Street. And this is where the blue line branches off heading south. This is a CAF car. You can see the bridge that carries the gold line east in the background. And this is an advertisement at the Florin station on the blue line, advertising the new S700 low-floor light rail vehicles. And of course, I got a CAF for the train that I saw here in good light. And in the other direction, also a CAF. So while we're in Sacramento, my good friend Ray told me to head over to the Siemens plant, which is in the Florin neighborhood, just south of San Francisco. South of Sacramento. Lots of interesting things to see from here. So again, this is the Siemens plant near Sacramento. These are the San Joaquin cars, now called Gold Runner venture cars being built. Here's a view above. You can see several different types of equipment, but we have in the front there Cascades, Pacific Northwest Amtrak car, and there's also an Ontario Northland car under construction in the middle. And a lineup here of interesting equipment. ALC-42B, built for the Cascades, Pacific Northwest. An unnumbered ALC-42, followed by several Muni S200 cars. This is car 2200, 2199, 2198. That's an EXO from Montreal Charger. They call them EC42s. No number on this one. Zoom, little bit of a zoom there. In the plant, you could see Muni 2196. Looks a little better from the air. That's a Cascades car under construction. And there is a Montreal EXO Charger 1403, one of 10 being built for the commuter line. This shot shows venture cars for 3 different areas. Gold Runner on the left, Cascades in the middle, and on the corner on the right, we have the Midwest. And this view shows light rail cars for Phoenix, Sacramento, and Calgary. And here, just Phoenix and Sacramento. And an overview of everything. Now I like this picture here because you can see Muni and a Sacramento car half wrapped. And what do you see poking out of the shop but Metro North Charger 308. And one last view, here's Calgary Transit S200 2482, part of a small order for 10 cars, of 10 cars for Calgary. Now back up to Stockton, or back down to Stockton for ACE. This is the UP Fresno subdivision. Station was built here by Southern Pacific in 1930 in the background. We were waiting for the first ACE train to show up, but something happened on the rails, and we waited and waited, but at least we did see 4 freight trains while we were here. ES44AC headed south, a somewhat rare SD59 MX 9913 built from an SD60M heading north, and then 2 BNSF trains, 8270 and 7006. And while we were waiting, a quick visit to the bus terminal here, San Joaquin RTD, hard to find in the country, Proterra electric bus, still in service. Another veterans bus, and this very interesting all-electric color for Gillig. Lots of different colors there. And when the trains started to run, they actually ran them on a different route. This is passing UP's Lathrop Yard south of Stockton, usually ACE's on a neighboring track about a mile to the west. And one last view in Stockton before we leave, the other station, Amtrak's former Santa Fe station, now called San Joaquin Street, on the Gold Runner line. And this is on BNSF's Stockton subdivision. The station was built in 1900. And while we were waiting, we got lucky to see a BNSF freight with a B40-8W passing. So now let's head back to the Bay, head back in the Bay Area to San Francisco. This was taken in 2023, just to, for context, a Powell and Market car with Alcatraz in the background. Now we'll take a quick look at the F line. I highly recommend, if you're in San Francisco for an hour, make sure this is where you spend it. To be able to see restored PCC cars throughout San Francisco is wonderful. This is probably my 5th or 6th time doing this. So let's get right out there. So as we know, there are PCC cars from Philadelphia, PCC cars from Newark, and some in-house San Francisco cars that were rebuilt, all from Brookville in Pennsylvania, by Brookville in Pennsylvania. And they're in service and they look wonderful. So we picked a spot sort of in the afternoon. This is Market and Church Streets, and we just photographed everything that came by. Here's car 1080, ex-Newark, New Jersey. Crossing here is the J light rail line to Balboa Park. Here's one of the newer Siemens cars doing that. Here we have 1080 going in toward downtown and a DC liveried PCC from Newark heading towards me. There were lots of put-ins at this time as well. Here's a car painted up in Chicago colors, originally from Philadelphia. 1071 in Minneapolis colors, originally from Newark, and originally from Minneapolis before that. Here is a J trolley and a 22-line trackless passing each other. 1073 El Paso livery from Newark. A Mini Gillig on the 37 route. Kansas City ex-Philly PCC. Is Washington coming around the corner. There was a parade a little further up by Castro Street, so the cars were detouring in a way they don't normally run, which was great for pictures. The back of DC Transit, 1076. Here is Minneapolis again with a J-line car passing. Beautiful logos. Probably spent an hour and a half here and it felt like 20 minutes. Here's car 1051 in Muni colors. It is a New Flyer bus with a PCC in Boston colors, originally from Philly. And a little further up the line, here's a Birmingham, Alabama livery, ex-Newark car. And here comes a Detroit car. Well, we were intercepted by a trolley bus running in diesel mode. You can't put the camera down on Market Street. It's constantly something to take a picture of. Here's Detroit, turning the corner, ex-Newark, and a very sharp car, Cleveland, also ex-Newark. Heading to the other end of the line, here is 1079 on Jefferson Street in Fisherman's Wharf. Here's 1051 in Muni livery at the loop at Fisherman's Wharf. There was a little bit of a backup here as well, so Cincinnati car behind caught up to Detroit. And here's 1051, a San Francisco restoration with the famous Fisherman's Wharf logo. And a few pictures from Pier 39. You can see the Bay Bridge in the background to Oakland. Here's a Chicago car. Muni Torpedo 1006. DC 1076 again. That car was out all day, as was Minneapolis. And Boston. Kansas City. A couple pictures at night. Here's 1050 at Church and Market. And here we are, El Paso car at the Fisherman's Wharf Loop. Cars were quite full. Chicago. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. And I also recommend looking at the Market Street Railway webpage. There's an excellent map that shows you with a graphic which cars are out there and what to expect, which is perfect if you want to time a quick bite to eat or, deviating to take a light rail picture so you don't miss one of these historic gems coming around the corner. So now we'll head out to Arizona, heading back, but quick stop in Arizona. Grand Canyon, massive 4,000-foot deep canyon made by the Colorado River. If you haven't been here, I highly recommend a visit. You could take 1 million pictures here, and each one of them is better than the other. Nice bus system here to get you around. Driving is not easy around the park. Lots of these new flyers. But the interesting thing to see is the Grand Canyon Railway with these old F40 PHs from Amtrak. This is at the Grand Canyon Station. Today, Zentara runs tour buses around the Grand Canyon. That's what they look like Orions from somewhere. If I go back into the history file, when I went with my good friend Anthony here in 2007, we still had these beautiful fish bowls that were rebuilt in a modern style. Here's 239 again, getting ready to leave Grand Canyon. It's a 65-mile ride back down to Williams. This is in Williams. Here's the picture from the air, and here's the picture from the ground. And the parlor car in the back is called the Chief. We'll head into Williams. There's 1 or 2 trains daily that leave from here. Surprisingly, in very late April, we had quite a bit of snow driving here from Phoenix, but it burned off quickly. The Williams, Arizona station was built in 1908 by the Santa Fe. And what happens, the train backs into the station, so you can photograph all these ancient cars that are meticulously kept, generator cars, and beautiful F-40s. And the train sits here for a while you can take extra pictures. And if you're really lucky, you can get a BNSF train passing. This is a ES-44C4 on the Phoenix sub. So this train came up from Phoenix to this area to head east on the BNSF main. A couple views from the air, the day after snowfall. This train was interesting. It has an ex-New Jersey Transit F-40, 4124. I was hoping to get it leading, but wasn't to be on this day. And just east of town, the train switches off and passes its Y and heads north towards Grand Canyon. Couldn't find the name of this junction, but it is just east of downtown Williams. And you get some beautiful shots of the train on sweeping curves with mountains, and you can't lose. And heading north from here, you pass the Grand Canyon Railway's yard in North Williams. And there's some interesting stuff in here as well. Retired Black Mesa and Lake Powell 6001. They closed in August 2019 with the sole customer, the Navajo Generating Station, closing. And this is in storage for the Arizona State Railway Museum, nicely kept by the Grand Canyon Railway for now. They have several pieces of equipment here, including this ex-Magma Copper Company RS3, also in storage for the museum. And deeper into the facility, what I came here to shoot in the early 2000s, these beautiful ex-Via F units are sitting here in storage. One of these was actually on display at the Grand Canyon Station last year. I was sad to see it's just stuck in the back here, but at least you can still get some photos of them. Flagstaff, Arizona, with a ES-44 DC passing a beautiful station. Okay, so now we'll head into Phoenix for a quick look. Phoenix's Valley Metro now operates a 2-line, 38.5-mile system using 50 Kinky Chargeau cars and 25 Siemens S700 cars with an option for 25 more. This section there, if you can see my mouse, this section over here just opened a few months ago or in the summer. And that gave them the idea of splitting this into 2. Let's see, June 7th, this opened actually. It's the $1.34 billion South Central extension, 5.5 miles south, adding 8 stations, 7 along Central Avenue, down to Baseline. Since the system opened in 2008, I haven't been here in more than 10 years, so I have a few things of recent openings to sort of add to what I've shown at ERA meetings in the past. This is Central and Watkins on the extension. I was there the very end of April, and the extension opened in June. So they were testing, but this was not yet in service. So this is a good combo shot of a Kinky Chargeau car on the right and one of the new Siemens cars on the left. And these are stations along Central Avenue. This is at Pioneer. future home of your light rail station. And this is Broadway. Again, these are now in service and they've been running with revenue trains since June 7th. So taking a look at a few other things, this is the Northwest Extension, which opened in January of 2024. This is car 128 leaving the Metro Parkway station in Northwest Phoenix, crossing Highway 17. This is actually from my hotel balcony. Also the Metro Parkway station on the left. First station down from there, Mountain View's 25th Avenue. This is one of the original Kinky Charju fleets. Since I was here, the paint changed from basically a green and gray livery to this somewhat attractive purplish color. Here again at the Mountain View 25th station. Here we are, 25th and Dunlap. This was a several station extension up to the northwest part of Phoenix. This is 19th and Dunlap station with some sort of outdoor plaza. And a nice bus transfer here as well. The 19 route actually runs on 19th Street. Clever. Here's 142 at Glendale and 19th. And this is really the extension in recent years. And now the second one out in Mesa, this is the Gilbert Road extension from May 18th, 2019. Somebody came up with a nice green M on the left. And this is the Gilbert Road and Main Street station and bumping block area. You can see one of these Siemens cars waiting for use. And moving in on this line, just taking a few quick shots, Main Street and Stapley Drive with a Pizza Mart. Car 150 at Main and Mesa. Main and Center. Nice, easy east-west photography with stations that are different, each one being slightly different with slightly different designs. Main and Country Club, Main and Alma School. Arizona is, of course, known for cactuses. This is the 110, car 110 crossing the Salt River from Phoenix to Tempe. Another view of two cars that have just crossed. Tempe, Arizona. April's a pretty good time to go. It wasn't too hot yet. Now we'll take a look at the Tempe streetcar, which is now called the Valley Metro streetcar or the S line. It's a 3-mile, 14-station line around Tempe. It opened May 20th, 2022, using 6 Brookville Liberty streetcars. And we'll start from the top up there at Marina Heights and work our way down to the Apache Boulevard station. This is 184 at Marina Heights, Rio Salado Parkway, the northern terminal, and the Arizona Sun Devils Mountain America Stadium is right behind me. Following the route in, this is the Tempe Beach Park station at Rio Salado Parkway. Very bright cars, easy to photograph. If you notice, these are sort of dual powered. They're running on battery power here, but when you get into downtown and you run south, they will have the pantographs up. Here is one of 2 places where the streetcar crosses the Valley Metro light rail. This is the 3rd and Ash intersection. If we basically just snap our fingers, there's the light rail. And over my left shoulder, we have a nice combo shot with a Tempe Orbit Gillig bus. Moving further south, the Ash and 5th station. And from a nice parking garage overpass, this is Ash and University Drive with a well-placed fire truck and a bus pacing at the same time. Can't lose. And this is coming into the Ash and University station, which is just over my left. That's the overpass I was standing on for the picture before. And this is Ash and University. Here we are on University with one of many Chick-fil-A's on the left in the Tempe area. 9th and Mill Station. You can see this is now with pantograph. This is the station where the pantographs come up and down, as you can see from the signage. We're looking south. Pantographs go up to go south. This is the next station south, 11th and Mill, with two cars passing. And here we are turning on Apache Boulevard and now running past University on Apache Boulevard at College. And the end station here is a transfer to the light rail out to Mesa. This is Dorsey Lane and Apache Boulevard. You can see this is a streetcar, and a few minutes later was the light rail. And now we'll head home, get off the plane, and here we are again with AirTrain in Jamaica. Less than 100 of these M3s built by Bud are still in service. AirTrain built by Bombardier in 2023, still in use. This is the second time I've been in Jamaica where I got this kind of cool shot with all remaining Long Island Railroad electrics in service. Basically M9 built by Kawasaki on the left, M3 by Bud in the middle, and M7 by Bombardier on the right. But why was I here? I'm sure many of you heard about this. Long Island Railroad hosted the Burlington Northern Santa Fe office car train in September. The train was heading out to visit the Ryder Cup. Basically, it was a hotel for BNSF executives attending the Ryder Cup in Farmingdale, Long Island. So here is the train coming into Jamaica, about to pass J Tower. It was 14 beautifully restored BNSF coaches being pulled by 3 Long Island Railroad MP-15 ACs. There was some difficulty getting this train here based on clearance. So it was supposed to come down through Metro North's Hudson line, but someone was concerned that it would hit the third rail there. So just a quick diversion. A couple days before that last picture, here we are sitting in Croton West Yard with the OCS train and a Metro North train passing, trying to figure out what to do. So eventually went back to the drawing board, and here we are going all the way around Hartford line, New Haven line, over the Hellgate Bridge to the Long Island Railroad at Fresh Pond Junction. And here is the train heading east past J Tower in Jamaica. And just a couple of shots of some of the cars going by. Very impressive to see. This car, sleeper car, was built for the Santa Fe in 1950 as the Regal Lark. Ran on the famous Super Chief and is now the Cajon Pass. And here we are for the return visit. 3 Long Island Railroad MP-15s are coming to get the train. This is the Clinton Road station, which opened in 1915, closed in 1953. Now a fire department area. Here's the train sitting in on the Garden Mitchell Secondary, where it spent a week basically. And you can see the Long Island Railroad engines coming to get it. And here we are pulling the train back, passing Clinton Road again. Hope everybody's enjoying. Here again is the train passing us, BNSF 1. The interesting thing to point out here, you see BNSF, that's car number 1, but that 800-294, that's the number should it run over Amtrak. It's the National Railroad number. Here's the train heading out past the Clinton Road Station. Here we are at Belrose. And a couple of cars passing the MTA Long Island Railroad sign. It's one of these things you'd never believe it unless you saw it yourself, but hopefully it becomes a annual thing. And here's the train being pulled by CSX GP40-2 6205, about to go over the Hellgate Bridge. Those of you who are interested, the Hellgate Bridge was completed in 1917. This is from a walkway on the Triborough Bridge. Things I never thought I would see here, but cool to see. Since we're talking about the Long Island, the US DOT FRA High-Speed Research Vehicle 216 visited the Long Island Railroad for a few days in the summer. This is crossing Hashamamuk Pond in Southold. And here it is in the Greenport station. This used to be Metro Liner 9642 or Penn Central 803. Very rare to find two locomotives in Greenport. The traffic on the right is for the North Ferry to Shelter Island. And here's a kind of a cool view of the two ferries there and the station, which was built in 1982. Since we're looking at ferries, here's the Grand Republic at Port Jefferson, run by the Bridgeport and Port Jefferson Steamboat Company. Not related to the railroad, but I thought it would be interesting. Other news on Long Island was the SW 1001, number 101, was repainted in its delivered paint from 1977, captured here in the Jamaica Advance Yard in June when it was first completed. The track on the right, curving to the top of the screen, heads through Kew Gardens and Forest Hills, and the track on the left heads to the yards in Jamaica. The locomotive was also kindly sent out to the Railroad Museum of Long Island's festival at Riverhead, captured here with an eastbound Greenport scoot. And very recent news, Long Island Railroad tested Metro North's SC42DM 307. You can see the second engine there on the Long Island Railroad. Here it is testing at New Hyde Park last week. Long Island Railroad has ordered 44 chargers to be delivered between 2027 and 2031. Closer view. And a view again from last week here in the Richmond Hill Yard of a dual mode and 307 coupled up to some Long Island Railroad cars. Good to capture all this stuff while you can. The engine went back yesterday. Closer view of 307. Other news, obviously, the next gen Acellas went into service. This was a press conference, Penn Station rebuild. On the left, Stephen Bradbury, Deputy Secretary of Transportation, Andy Byford, Amtrak's Penn Station lead, and Sean Duffy, U.S. Transportation Secretary, discussed plans to modernize Penn Station, construction starting in 2027. This was August 27th, the day before Acellas went in service, but they did have two Acellas downstairs on display that you could visit and photograph. So here's a couple cars before opening day. Nice clean cafe. What the interior looks like. So August 28th was the first day of passenger service for the next gen Acela. I rode to Stamford. Note the Danbury train B32AC DM 231. And this was the first Acela car 2130 arriving on 2153, train 2153. Why would I be standing in this location instead of the other side? Because I actually rode it, wanted to ride the first train. Welcome aboard. $2.5 billion for 28 next-gen Acela train sets made by Alstom and Cornell. And here's a few pictures. First time I've ever photographed a toilet on a train, but it was clean. Nice people on board. Conductor Rob Whitaker and en route cleaners who basically helped keep everything nice and clean. And when I arrived in Penn Station, I took a long ride from Stamford to Penn Station. When I got to Penn Station, we were greeted by people giving us, people showing signs and giving out some swag, basically for the first ride. That's the locomotive engineer, Philip Meade, to operate the first train from Penn to DC. And here is the first train leaving, 2130, from Penn, headed south to DC, being operated by Mr. Meade. So go ride an Acela if you haven't done it before. These next gens are pretty nice. Also news in New York, Gateway Tunnel Project right next to Long Island Railroad's Camera Yard, formerly known as West Side Yard. Construction is underway. You can get these pictures from the High Line Park, former New York Central Freight Line. Couldn't forget a few shots in the subway, Coney Island Yard. Lots of things to see in here. This was the Coney Island Rail Rodeo here at R33-9207, was used for a trip or two. and then it was swapped out for Bud R32s on a later train, which had better air conditioning. Great to see these things in service. A couple of views from the air, Stillwell Terminal in Coney Island, R68A. Nice to see the train shed. Looking in the other direction. And to get some pictures in Brooklyn with the famous Cyclone built in 1927. And the Wonder Wheel built in 1920. And that's an R46 in the background. Also, always nice when opening day comes around. Low V's usually run to Yankee Stadium. Here we are at Wall Street, followed closely behind by the Train of Many Colors. And not to leave the other team out too, here are the Redbirds at 34th Street and Hudson Yards, about to make their trip to Citi Field for Mets opening day. You never know who you see on the train. There's recently retired train dispatcher, Mr. McKernan, showing me his special T-shirt from Canada. And here's Hunters Point Avenue with a absolutely packed Redbird train for Mets opening day. I was planning to ride, but the thought of getting in that train was scary. A few other pictures, some recent Brooklyn pictures. This is New York City Transit's R156 OL919, built by MPI in South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. Here is newly delivered R255 HL010, built by Wabtec in Erie, Pennsylvania, and a set of R211 cars in South Brooklyn Marine Terminal, waiting to be delivered by South Brooklyn to New York City Transit. A couple other pictures, the famous First Avenue street running in Sunset Park. This is the New York, New Jersey genset locomotive pulling a couple of cars of R32s, but mostly R46s going for scrap. And a couple pictures of a second of a similar train. These cars run up and down the street to run interference for anything in the way of the locomotive. Here is 5101 pulling a solid train of R46s out and heading them to Bay Ridge Yard, where they'll be floated across the harbor to Greenville, where they'll be chopped up in a Sims facility over there. You can see Brooklyn Army Terminal in the background. Okay, now on to Metro North. Here's 222, one of the more recent heritage wraps. This is the P32AC DM at the Danbury station. One train set sits here over the weekend in this location, can easily be photographed from mostly accessible property. It's the entrance to the Danbury Railway Museum's yard. A couple of quick pictures here. Here's 222 in service, passing South Norwalk with the office car fleet. For a short time, Amtrak had wrapped two ACS 64s with this Crayola wrap here passing South Norwalk. Another one of the newer Metro North heritage wraps, they call this M Central, representing some FL9s that were painted in the late 70s, early 80s. Here we are at South Norwalk with a Danbury train heading in to Grand Central. And the newest one is 216, which is the Veterans engine, very classy. Came out recently, designed by Metro North Veterans employees. And this is photographed at the Wilton station on the Danbury branch. This same week it was put in service. Here it is at Cannondale on the Danbury branch, same day. Metro North, as you saw from the Long Island section, started putting their chargers in service. This is the first day for Charger 301, September 22nd. Metro North ordered 27 of these 4,200 horsepower dual mode locomotives. You can also see the Park Avenue Viaduct replacement project scaffolding in the background. Basically, the entire viaduct is being replaced and modernized, which is a great thing. Couple views from the first day. Here's 301 again in Grand Central. And we'll take a look at a few heritage engines around. This is 217, the Penn Central engine at Dover Plains on the Harlem line. 211 at Wassaic on the Harlem line. 203 at Wilton on the Danbury branch. Here is 301 at Charger testing early this year at Cannondale, basically in pitch black. This was an interesting event. The Danbury Railway Museum loaned Metro North a couple of M2s and an FL9 for their New Haven open house. Here's the train set sitting in Dockyard in South Norwalk on the way to the event in New Haven. This was in late September. Here's the train heading to New Haven, passing Westport in the wee hours of the morning. Always nice to see an FL9 back under New Haven wire. And here's the train set heading back to Danbury, passing the Merritt 7 station, which is known for having good light. Metro North has started a nice thing the last few years with holiday lights trains. Here is a last year's version in Grand Central. If you look at the MTA website, they do list a day or two in advance where it's going to run. Go check it out. A couple more pictures. Cannondale on the Danbury branch with a rare south-facing engine. Figured to get some snow shots out to work toward the end of the show. Here we are, South Norwalk, with the Danbury train passing and 104 sitting here for some reason. ACS 64, everything looks nice in snow. Get your new Acellas. At this point, they were still testing, but now you know when they're coming. 214 passing Route 7 in Ridgefield. That's Metro North's employee tribute locomotive. If you look closely at that, there are small pictures of many different employees. Very well done. This was taken recently. Branchville Station on the Danbury branch with last week's snowfall. Note the catenary pole still there from electrification from many years ago. Crayola again, passing Westport. And a quick look back in the subway. R46 is at Lexington Avenue on the W. Always like that station sign. R46 is out in Rockaway. From the historical collection, R38s in Coney Island Yard, taken by Jerry Landau in 1965. R30s in work train service, 207th Street Yard in 1991. We'll go up to Boston for a few pictures. The Mattapan trolley, formerly the Mattapan-Ashmont line. PCC cars from the 1940s here at the Mattapan station. Some are unrebuilt like that one, and some have been rebuilt like this one. Cedar Grove. I made it my business to go up there for some snow pictures this winter. This was probably February of this year. That's a zoom shot from Cedar Grove looking at Ashmont. Is this bridge basically doing the same thing here, looking at Cedar Grove with Ashmont in the background. And an elevated view over Ashmont. You can see the red line below and the large bus terminal in the background as well. We'll take a look at MBTA's heritage engines. This is their first one, the Cranberry Unit 1129 at Chelsea on the north side. More recent one, 1130, taken here at Shirley at Wachusett, also Wachusett. And this was an interesting day. A mass coastal train ran from Cape Cod to Middleborough and then ran into South Station to run round trip out to Cape Cod for the New England Railroad Club dinner train, which is basically railroad executives from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New England. So here's the train deadheading into Middleborough Yard. This is basically things you'd see operating on Cape Cod in the summer. But MBTA added their brand new F40 1030 in Boston Maine paint for this train. So these are the first pictures of it in the Middleborough Yard. You can see the beautiful FL9s, and the Cranberry engine, which was actually out of service at this time, is in the background as well. A couple more pictures. It's technically an F40 PH-3C. Looks beautiful. And this is what the train did later that day. This is leaving South Station at crossing the Fort Point Channel Bridge over the Bass River. They needed an MBTA engine on each end around the FL9s for PTC reasons, but still looks great from the ground or from the air. And in the other direction with the MBTA Red Line Cabot Yard. Also news in Boston in March, actually March 24th, MBTA opened their 2 lines to New Bedford and Fall River. This is New Bedford Station, 4 something in the morning. This is the first inbound train from New Bedford with car 1827. You can see the New Bedford sign on the left and the first crew that operated it. We rode this and took an Uber over to Fall River to ride the first inbound train from there an hour and a half later. Here's car 1818 leading the first inbound from here. 505 was that train. And here's the ribbon cutting in Fall River with Governor Maura Healey with the big scissors. And she did another ribbon cutting a couple hours later at East Taunton with the larger celebration. Always like to attend these openings and celebrations. Anyway, just for the record, the celebration for the opening was in that tent at the East Taunton station. Not great weather on opening day, but fortunately the day before was nice. This is another rainy shot, 2037 at East Taunton. And just for the record, that's what it looks like when it's dry the day before. New Bedford Yard on the weekend. Some stuff laying over here. You can see the main line track off to the left heading up that hill. Visit it if you like commuter trains. Looking at the MBTA Red Line. Get your pictures now because a lot of the new cars are coming in. Here's one of the 1700 UTDC built cars at Ashmont. Here is 1500 series car at Fields Corner. The original ones from Pullman Standard are running on their last legs. Note the Mike's Amazing Hot Mustard bus here on the bottom. On the platform here is 1507, one of the Pullman Standard cars, which are on their last legs, being replaced by these CRRC built cars, again at Fields Corner. Since we're looking at red subway cars, we'll go look at some pictures in Toronto briefly. Unfortunately, the trolleys here are not red, the new ones. Finch West Light Rail opened December 7th, 2025, technically called Line 6, 6.4 miles, 18 stations from this location here, Finch West, connection with the 1 line to Humber College using 18 of these Citidis Spirit cars. Here's one coming out of the portal. This was taken in August before the line opened. We did get a few test cars running around 6505 and 6501. Hope to get up there soon to see these. But the other line, Eglinton, line 5, these cars are built by Bombardier. 17 miles, 28 stations, and still not open, even though the construction started before Finch West. But here's a few pictures from August of these. Hopefully, we'll be heading up there for an opening soon. That's Rapido's fishbowl bus, which was used by the Metropolitan New York Bus Association to ride around Toronto. And just a couple of pictures along Eglinton. I'm sure we'll do a big thing on this when it actually opens. Not a huge fan of the color. I'd love to see these red like the rest of TTC, but I'm sure there's a good reason, and it's good to see. So line 2 in Toronto still operates, line 2, the Bloor Danforth line, still operates these nice T1 cars. And here's a few shots from along the line. Here we are at Warden, Spadina, and Dundas West. Upstairs at Dundas West, there's a TTC Bombardier Flexity Freedom 4484 with a new flyer. We're lucky to get one of these Proterra buses in service. I was told they were all taken out of service about a month ago. This is again at Dundas West. Heading back to the US, we're down at 30th Street in Philadelphia. Some of the pictures you saw from Sacramento earlier showed the Cascade Alstom cars being built. Here is a train set in 30th Street Yard in Philly, which was to be tested on the Amtrak line from Philly to Harrisburg. Here it is sitting at 30th Street. Another view of the many Acela Next Gens sitting here as well. News in Philly, the third car to be repainted in the original Septic color for these 1980 built Kawasaki cars is car 106. And here it is at Drexel Hill Junction Station and also at Sharon Hill. So nice to see some fresh stuff and a return to history, and looks a lot better than a white-sided car like that. SEPTA's also renumbering all their routes. This route here, T2, used to be the 34. This is on the diversion trackage since there's an issue with the switch by the trolley subway. So some change in Philadelphia with route numbers changing. Patco opened its Franklin Square station April 3rd of this year. It reopened for the first time since 1979. $29.3 million renovation. Here's opening day. Lots of people showed up. Philly Mayor Parker cut the opening ribbon. Downstairs on the platform, some of the first trains being filmed by the news crews. I'm sure you all know, but Canadian Vickers built these cars and Alstom recently rebuilt them. And this is on the platform at Franklin Square on the first day. Unfortunate news, the Disney California Adventure had these two Brookville cars in service in their theme park. This closed a couple months ago. I think it was late summer. And here's just a few pictures from that 2023 visit to California. Good to get these while I was there. And coming probably all over the country in 2026, America celebrates its 250th anniversary. That's called the semi-quincentennial. First locomotive, excuse me, first locomotive in the area that is painted for that is this Connecticut Southern unit seen here in Hartford. Nice to see. These will be all over the country, I'm sure. Excuse me. Reading and Northern painted something up for our anniversary as well. This SD40 seen here at Pittston. And Dorea, a few minutes after. And now to close out, we'll look at some winter things. This season is always great for Toys for Tots trains, where usually the Marines collect toys for kids who are a little underprivileged. And here is the East Penn train running through Avondale, Pennsylvania, collecting toys for kids in the area. Here's a couple of pictures. This is a tough one to pronounce, but Tuckahoe, Pennsylvania, probably wrong. And Kennett Square. This was the second or third time that this train ran, so a lot of people came out to see it. You could bring toys, sit with Santa Claus, take pictures with Santa Claus. Very nice thing to see. Metro North's diesel holiday train seen here at Peekskill 203. Nice lights. And this was taken early last week. Quick visit to the Danbury Railway Museum to see their lights. They're known for this each year. They put lights all over and run an RDC around the yard so people can see. That's the former Mill Plain station, which was on the Maybrook line for a while, moved several years ago to the museum. And in the back of the yard, they have Frosty the Snowman on a turntable. And when the train comes close, they run the turntable and turn it around. That's the full RDC with kids. And Metro North 413, at the time it was in service, it's the oldest locomotive 15 years ago in North America, is on display in Danbury as well. Nice to see. Former Metro North RS3 in the yard as well. So nice to see some lights in the yard. This was taken during the blizzard last week, Danbury branch train. So I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Glad my voice held out pretty much to the end. And thanks to the people who helped me take a lot of pictures in 2025. So hope everybody enjoyed.